Good morning. Today is Wednesday, January 30th, 2025. I'm Catherine Malron, and this is Make It Make Sense. I know I just did a video yesterday, and I'm not trying to flood everyone with too many videos, but this is urgent, and this is not being talked about, so we need to talk about it. Okay, so if you go to the whitehouse.gov website, and you look under executive orders. We have an executive order here that said the title of it is Ending Radical Indoctrination in K-12 Schooling. And it was written yesterday, January 29th. So the purpose and policy, it says, parents trust America's schools to provide their children with a rigorous education and to instill patriotic admiration for our incredible nation and the values for which we stand. In recent years, however, parents have witnessed schools indoctrinate their children in radical anti-American ideologies while deliberately blocking parental oversight. Such an environment operates as an echo chamber in which students are forced to accept these ideologies without question or critical examination. In many cases, innocent children are compelled to adopt identities as either victims or oppressors solely based on their skin color and other immutable characteristics. In other instances, young men and women are made to question whether they were born in the wrong body and whether to view their parents and their reality as enemies to be blamed. These practices not only erode critical thinking, but also sow division, confusion, and distrust, which undermine the very foundations of personal identity and family unity. So, that's basically saying that the schools are indoctrinating students to question their gender identity. Now, we all know that this is not happening. We all know that there are people, of course, in this country and in the entire world, probably since the beginning of time, who may have felt or feel that they were born in the wrong body. Now, this does happen, but then they take those steps to remedy that. Anybody who, I know there's a lot of people who have issue with this, but, as I've said before, if it's not hurting you, then mind your business, because it's none of your business really, and you don't really understand it at all, so don't try to. But I think that we all are smart enough to know that this is not happening in schools. I am not going to read this whole entire thing because it is very long, but I want to get to the most important points here. So the definitions in the executive order: defending women from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government. January 20th, 2025 shall apply to this order, which is when he said that there will only be two sexes, male and female, and that will be recognized. And a lot of people just took that to mean that you just can't check a box for whatever gender you identify with. And we all know it goes a lot deeper than that. Because, folks, if you haven't realized it already, not just this, but almost every executive order that he has written is Project 2025 in full effect. The Project 2025 that he claimed on his campaign trail to know nothing about. Now, and then he's appointing people into his cabinet that are authors of Project 2025. And you can trust and believe that he knows exactly what it is, and it's exactly what he wants. It's his whole platform. Y'all got to understand that. I've been making a lot of references and parallels to the show The Handmaid's Tale. And the reason I've been doing that is because there are so many similarities to what is happening to what happened on that show. And, it's a very, very educational show to watch, because it depicts basically, like, you kind of look at it like, oh, well, if this were to happen, then this is where we could, what this country could lead to, or whatever the case may be. But we're here now. We're here now. And that's why a lot of times I will say things like, welcome to Gilead. But if you haven't watched The Handmaid's Tale, I do highly recommend it, or read the book, I highly recommend it. Okay, so let's get to, let me see here. I'm trying to get to what I want to point out in this. So, social transition means the process of adopting a gender identity, and they have it in quotations, or gender marker that differs from the person's sex. The process can include psychological or psychiatric counseling or treatment by a school counselor or other provider, modifying a person's name, example, Jane to James, or pronouns, example, him to her, calling a child non-binary, use of intimate facilities and accommodations such as bathrooms or locker rooms specifically designated for the person of the opposite sex, and participating in school athletic competitions or other extracurricular activities specifically designated for persons of the opposite sex. Social transition does not include chemical or surgical mutilation. So then he wants to end this indoctrination strategy, because apparently he's convinced that, like I said, that children are being indoctrinated in schools to be, to encourage them to identify as a different gender, to identify as non-binary, to change their pronouns, that this is being indoctrinated in schools. This is what he believes. And then they are going to eliminate federal funding or support for illegal and discriminatory treatment and indoctrination in K-12 schools, including based on gender ideology and discriminatory equity ideology, and protecting parental rights pursuant to, and then it names some of the bills. With respect to any K-12 policies or conduct implicated by the purpose and policy of this order. All federal funding sources and streams, including grants or contracts that directly or indirectly to support or subsidize the instruction, advancement, or promotion of gender ideology or discriminatory equity ideology. And then in K-12 curriculum, instruction programs, or activities in K-12 teacher education, certification, licensing, employment, or training. And then let's see here. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to find the part. Okay, so this part really got me. Each agency's process is to prevent or rescind federal funds to the maximum extent consistent with applicable law from being used by an ESA, SEA, LEA elementary school or secondary school to directly or indirectly support or subsidize the social transition of a minor student, including through school staff or teachers who, through deliberately concealing the minor's social transition from the minor's parents. So let's see. There is a part 2 about interference with the parent's federal statutory right to information regarding school curriculum, records, physical examinations, surveys, and other matters. I'm trying to find. They're calling it sexually exploiting minors. And he goes so far in here as to say that something about them actually assisting with transitions. You know, that he had said that before when he was campaigning. He had said that children were leaving for school and coming home a different gender. He said that. He believes that. And then there were some really funny videos. I saw one on TikTok, and the guy was a school teacher, and he said, this is a day in the life of a school teacher, and he goes in and he gets his classroom ready, and then he's scrubbing in for surgery. So, yeah, this is happening. And they are trying their best to do away with anything that's not white, straight male. And that's just how it is. And if we don't do something soon, things are already so bad, but they are going to get much, much worse. And I just want y'all to know that. Go to the website. Go look up this executive order. Please read it, is what I'm asking you to do. Please read it. Please stay informed. You need to go on there and read all of them. He has them all on there. So, the Constitution's no longer on there, but you can read all of his executive orders, because it will help you better understand what he is up to, what he's doing, because no one is reporting on this. I haven't heard one news report. I didn't hear one announcement from the White House. I didn't hear him bragging about it, because you know how he loves to brag. I ain't heard a word. I ain't heard a peep. Crickets. Because they're trying to slide this in, is what they're trying to do, because they know it's extreme. And not that everything else he's doing is an extreme, especially that he is going to open up Guantanamo Bay to house 30,000. He says immigrants, but we'll see who actually gets housed there and what happens to them. Do you realize that Guantanamo Bay is in Cuba, and you realize that these people have absolutely no rights to anything, and they can be treated whatever way that they decide to treat them? And it is going to be horrible. Okay? And I'm going to say it again and again and again as long as I have to. It took Mustache Man 53 days. 53 days. And you know what happened after that 53 days? Jewish people were put in gas chambers. Genocide. Okay? That is their ultimate goal. So if you haven't realized that yet, I hope you realize it now. So it's time to take action. It is time to get angry. All of us. I don't care who you voted for, because this affects every single one of us except for white men. That's the only people that aren't affected by this. But they will be affected, because it's going to affect their families. So it's going to affect all of us inherently. So we've got to do something, because obviously our senators and our congresspeople are not lifting a finger to help us. They're all just burying their heads in the sand, or they're promoting all of his ideologies. One or the other. The only people speaking out and saying anything are Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett, and AOC. They're the only three that are actually saying anything. But right now they're just talking, because they ain't doing nothing. Okay? So it's up to us to save ourselves. And that's what we got to do. So we're going to have to come together, and we're going to have to figure this out. I don't have all the answers. I really don't. But I just know that this has to be stopped. And I hope that you take this seriously. And I hope that you will please reach out to me. Comment. You can send me an email. Make it make sense 53@gmail.com, or however you want to reach out. And let's come together and let's figure this out, because something has to be done now.